messed around with the new iPhone a bit ago, and I was really impressed with the level of quality and excited as always for where it seems to be headed. And one of the things I was really excited about was the coming ProRes on the phone, which we weren't able to test since it wasn't out at the time, but now it is. So we shot 2 quick setups to see if there was much of a difference there. But before we look at that, just a quick heads up that Black Friday for Triune Digital is coming again, and we're doing some of our biggest sales yet. It's been a rough 2 years for everyone, so we wanted to make all our packs as accessible as we possibly could, and we have 14 brand new packs launching, including an insane VFX pack, so keep an eye out for more on that. Details below as well. But jumping back into the phone, we're using Filmic to shoot everything with one take. We're doing the highest quality that Filmic can give us before ProRes, then the highest ProRes, sticking with 709. And I have to say, I'm not seeing much of a difference off the bat when shooting outside. In both the outside and inside shots though, we are getting 2 shots that look pretty similar to me. But when we zoom in, you do see there is a difference in detail and sharpening between the 2 images, but it's still pretty slight. So much so that I'm not positive that it will even come across on YouTube, or maybe it will be exaggerated. Who knows? We're gonna have to wait and see there. But one place I did see a decent difference was in the shadow side on that inside shot. With the regular codec, it's blurred and without detail in the shadows, but the ProRes actually does hold some detail there, and we can exaggerate that by boosting the exposure and shadows in post. And once we do that, the non-ProRes looks a little bit like clay, blurred and gross on the shadow side, but the actual ProRes version is doing a pretty good job of holding the shot together. So although I'm not seeing a massive difference when shooting with a ton of light like outside, when lighting more cinematically, there's definitely a boost in quality with the shadow areas that will go a long way in the grade. But there's a big caveat here. The files are huge. These 2 files here are about the same length. The ProRes clip is maybe a second longer, and with the highest quality from Filmic Pro, we're getting a 140 megabyte file. The ProRes is a whopping 1.7 gigs for 22 seconds. So for me, at least right now, I don't see me using ProRes for the majority of the stuff that we shoot with the phone. But like I said in our iPhone episode, the fact that we have it on the phone and all the other capabilities is incredibly exciting. They're just continuing their steps toward cooler and cooler tech. So I'm looking forward to see how that advances. But now we're going to do something we haven't done in a really long time, and that's answer some of your questions. We are working on a cool episode for next week, so we figured now would be a great time to bring that back. So let's do that. First question, anytime I do a film project, I feel I could have prepared more in pre-production. How long would you spend in pre-production before you know you're ready to start shooting? Or do some parts of pre-production carry on into production like storyboarding or shot listing? The amount of time in pre-production that I have for any short film is dictated by when we need to be shooting the short film, and that does go for feature films as well. Everyone that I know that has done a feature film has that same situation. Once your film is greenlit, you go into pre-production and you have a specific period of time for pre-production until production kicks off. So that amount of time is all you get until that train starts moving. And one friend specifically talked about how he boarded and shot listed as much as he could of the film, but then the film started, so he didn't have all of it. And at some point they got to that point in the schedule where those plans stopped, and they had to make it up as they went at the time. And he was happy to find out that he could, and he did an incredible job with it as well. And because of hearing stuff like that, I purposefully shot my films in different ways like that, not storyboarding or shot listing at all and just going in and making it happen, or shot listing a little bit things that I felt I really needed to. I think that's good practice to have, but I wouldn't give yourself an infinite amount of pre-production time. You may just never go and do it. You may use that as a crutch to, stop you from going into the scary part, the production. So give yourself a certain amount of time and then go get the thing done. Managing a whole crew seems stressful. How does a good director make sure each person in the cast and crew is comfortable and happy past feeding them? I mean, you could start by saying thank you. Showing the appreciation for the fact that they showed up at all and they're helping you achieve this thing. I have seen people, maybe not in a very malicious way, but not take the time to thank the person that's scooping food for them, at Crafty, which is incredibly important, or the people walking around handing waters to people. Just being there to make sure every single person is treated with respect, and you are very much setting the tone for that. You are treating them with respect. You're shaking hands, you're looking people dead in the eye, you're learning their names, you're telling them thank you, because you should be telling them thank you. They're there to help you achieve your passion. This isn't their film. They're not telling their story. They're helping you tell yours. And that is a really beautiful thing. And I often think of it in more terms of, I'm in service to them and not the other way around, because they're putting their time into this thing. And it's a heavy responsibility on me to make sure that we're making something that, is worth a damn to everyone, that in the end they can be proud of this hard work that they put in doing this, rigging these lights, doing these thankless jobs on set. So be the person that's going around and thanking those thankless jobs, and that'll go a really long way. And it sets that tone, and it's an influence to everybody on set. And when I'm able to do that and do it well, which, sometimes it gets really busy and you're stressed out of your mind and maybe you're not doing as well as you could, but when you do and all of that aligns, that's when it really becomes a tight-knit family. We have a few more questions, but before we answer those, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Envato Elements. And Envato Elements is an amazing resource for almost any asset that you need in post for just about any kind of project. With one subscription, you get access to crazy amounts of music, sound effects, VFX assets, graphic assets, fonts, and so on. It's like a flea market for filmmakers. And I've been a paid subscriber to Envato Elements for years, and we use it just about every week for Film Riot and our other work. So this is something that does have value in our personal workflow on a very normal basis, especially for things like graphics with bumpers and lower thirds, or even promo videos. I've said it plenty of times before, but a lot of the stuff that we do in the amount of time that we have to do it would be 10 times harder without this resource. And it is unlimited downloads from these 53 million plus assets. And this is true unlimited downloads with a very simple licensing with their lifetime commercial license. So you can use it knowing that it's good for your personal and commercial work. Of course, custom stuff is great and preferred, but the majority of us either don't have the skills needed or the budget for that specific thing, or the time. And that's when this gets really invaluable. So again, if you need stock videos or images, graphics, templates, music, sound effects, font, resumes, website templates, and so much more, jump into the notes to find the link on where you can go to save 70% off your first month on unlimited Premiere Pro templates, stock footage, and audio. Logo. Back to questions with another question. Editing question. Any tips for hiding a bad performance when you have to include it somehow and you can't reshoot anything? There has been a time where I dubbed over an actor completely and we just didn't look at them when they had to deliver their lines, and the person that we dubbed them over was not the person that originally played that character, to try to solve an issue. But more often than not, it's about looking at them as little as possible. Look at the person who they're talking to get their reactions, and hopefully you have a good performance there. Cut away to other things. Stay on the wide and not the close to try to get rid of, some of those small issues that read false on camera. Those things can go a long way. I've also done things of, looking at the other character, not the one talking, who's not maybe hitting what they should be hitting. And while we're looking at the other character, you do have the option of ADR, or if you don't have the option of ADR, you have other takes that you can pull audio from to reconstruct maybe how they did their delivery, to refine it and find a better overall performance in post. I mean, that even happens on major feature films, so it's nothing new, but there are little things that you can do, mostly just trying to show that as little as possible and looking elsewhere. With what you know about filmmaking, what would you tell 18, 19, 20-year-old self? I would have told myself that I was better than I gave myself credit for, and that I should reach further faster. I should collaborate sooner. I should put myself on a limb more. I should be more uncomfortable sooner. It took me a long time to realize that I should just start making myself uncomfortable, start doing collaborations with people where, you get that imposter syndrome. You get that feeling of, I'm not worth being collaborated with, I'm not, they're going to come and they're going to make this thing with me, and they're going to see how I do it, and they're going to see I'm just a big fat fraud. We all have those feelings. Everyone, up into, friends of mine who are making major films and they're on their 5th or 6th one, whatever it is, they have that feeling still every single time. They feel like this is the time where people are going to find out I'm just a big fraud. So, we all feel this way. It's very, very normal, but just accepting that and doing it anyway sooner. Eventually, I did get to the point to where I started doing that. That became my motto. I needed to be uncomfortable with every project I did because that's what taught me the most. So I think out of everything in my career, the one thing that has held me back the most is not having the courage to get uncomfortable sooner. Will you make another short film, possibly a micro short, just for kicks? Is that Justin?
Yeah, he's a big, big fan.
He could literally walk in and ask me this at any point in time, and you picked his question.
Yeah.
I would really love to. It's been a minute since 2019 with There Comes a Knocking was my last short film that I made. But since then I've been pitching nonstop. So that has been fulfilling me where, making something like that has been, sort of lost. I've talked about it before, how I went on vacation one time because I felt like this real intense burnout feeling. But when I came back, it was better, but not really. And I figured out that I just hadn't made something for me in a while. And so I definitely have that feeling going on right now. But like I said, I'm pitching a lot, which means you're creating these treatments and you're building out stories, worlds, characters, themes, and how to tell those stories and convey them to someone. And so that's fulfilling me in some ways. But there's an aspect of that honestly, does feel a little icky sometimes because you are putting your heart and soul into these things to build these worlds, these characters, these themes, this vision of yours, spending all this time to create rip reels and lookbooks of a very specific vision of what you want to make. And, it often falls onto eyes and ears that are like, okay, and then you don't get much after that. They see a billion of these a day, and it's understandable, but it can be hard at times, and which does make me really want to go off and make a short film for myself again. But more than anything else, I have to keep schedule in mind. I film Riot and Triune, and if I'm going off to make a micro short, how is that helping me move toward that end goal of features? This over here with that window I currently have open needs to have my forefront attention, which is why I haven't done that yet. I could see, as I develop some stuff that I could even make on my own, I could see a world where a test short is done to bring in, financiers and things like that. But other than that, hopefully the next thing I make is a feature. So that's it for today. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions. And don't forget our Black Friday sale, details on that in the notes below. If you're not subscribed, consider doing so. Hit the bell so you're notified when we put up more content. And until next time, don't forget to write, shoot, edit, repeat.